Okay, we're going to do a weekly update and take a look at Bitcoin in particular, because that is what has driven the market to move upwards. We've obviously had that big surge in price towards the back end of last week on Friday. So let's see where we're at the moment. So I wanted to have a look at some of the key moving averages to give us an idea of where the momentum might be, at least in the short term, to give us an idea of some of those key levels to look out for. If we drop it down to the daily time frame, and we can see on the 21 exponential moving average, which is our key momentum indicator, that we are finally above it, which is showing to us that we've got some sort of strength on that short to near term at least, and might show us at this bottom that we had over here a week and a half ago might at least be an intermediate low. Previously, you can see that we rejected multiple times when we got close to, or we got to the moving average, okay, back in January, and even back in December, we did poke our head above it, tried to hold it as support, and then fell apart. So what we want to see, in order to give us some show of strength, is to at least hold this moving average. Maybe we come down and back test it, because we do have a little bit of breathing room between it, and maybe we come down to the daily 21 at some point next week and try to hold that as support. And then you can see again earlier in 30th November as well, we rejected from it. So this is actually, you know, a key moment at the moment for the daily 21 EMA for Bitcoin. And on the monthly 21 EMA as well, we've actually managed to hold that as support so far in February, but we did get this puncture down in January, which took us down to 33k, but we closed above it. And we know that on higher time frames that, you know, wicks to the downside and wicks to the upside are okay. The most important thing are those daily body candle closes. So that gives me a little bit more confirmation as well that this could at least be a local low if it's not the ultimate low. So the way that I played our move from 42 down to 33, to be transparent with you, is I did go into cash at about 38.6, okay, and then we decided to move lower. I did manage to, I could show you the order that I put in. I did manage to get in here at literally about 33.1, literally 33.1. I was on my screen at the time, and then I did just take profit on this candle because I made a quick 8% and I didn't have a lot of certainty, okay, and then I was neutral again towards the top of here at that 39.6. But what I saw on Friday, okay, which made me change my bias instantly, okay, and for those of you that message me and ask me about this, you'll know, okay, that I switched my bias very quickly. What I didn't like last Friday was that Bitcoin was dropping, which is fair enough, because I initially had, okay, as this is essentially, right, just another flag, okay, because the market structure looked pretty weak to move down. So I got in a short at 38,000, but then I got out here because what I saw was the DXY. If we just take a look at that, a highly unusual move. And when I see these weird irregular moves in the market, sometimes that is enough to make me flip my bias. And what I was seeing was Bitcoin was dropping, and obviously these tend to be inversely correlated. And then what I could see was basically this was completely tanking, and Bitcoin was continuing to fall. So that was telling me that something wasn't right. And because, you know, usually in conditions where the Dixie is in a downtrend or it's falling pretty quickly, is usually an environment where Bitcoin can flourish pretty well. So I managed to change my bias literally just at the right moment. And I also saw this, let me just get rid of this. I also saw this swing failure pattern down here on a technical note where I was waiting to see what was happening. But just down here at 36,000, right, I saw that we basically undercut these lows over here as well as over here, and then we basically rallied back into it, okay, and then I basically went neutral, as in back into spot around here, and I put a stop loss beneath this low, okay, and then essentially from there was lucky enough to basically ride this back up to here and then obviously back into spot. So you always want to make sure that you're on the right side of the market. It doesn't matter, okay, if you change your bias and you flip it, so long as you have like a rational decision making process for that. Okay. So in essence, what I did is I managed to save myself this down move over here, I managed to capture about 8% over here, okay, into my spot account. And like I said, I was essentially neutral, but then again, essentially got back in here. So in terms of Bitcoin value, I managed to gain about 8% out of this entire move, which was pretty nifty. But you do have to make sure that you're on top of your game if you're playing these markets, and you need to know where your clear invalidation points are. So where does that leave us now? So basically, we've obviously had this massive upthrust candle, which we're at least correcting sideways from, and we spoke about holding at least a daily 21 EMA as potential support. And again, that might also coincide with this trend line, obviously, that we broke. So maybe we come down here and maybe we do retest that 39.6 at a point in time next week. So that might be a good entry point if you're looking for longs, okay? So maybe look for longs of a retest of this trend line over here, which again was this swing low over here that we broke down from. So do look at this as a potential area to add to any longs if you're bullish, moving into next week. But you do need to be careful and do have those invalidation points, okay? So if you're entering here, put your stop somewhere appropriate if you're entering this or trading this. But the first area of, resistance is really going to be overcoming, okay, this 43,000 area. So there's a lot of confluence. So obviously this is the area that we broke down from. We've got a 4-hour order block over here where we essentially broke was the up candle before the down move. So definitely looking for resistance at this area for sure. Also, the 55 EMA on the daily is actually coming into confluence at that exact area at about $43,000. And then also on the weekly, if we drop that down, you can see there again, okay, which is a key EMA that we did break down from, as this is definitely a potential area where we're going to see, quite a bit of resistance. And I don't think this is going to be given up without a fight. Like, I don't think we get straight a green candle here, okay? So I think the best thing that we can hope for, looking for longs, okay, and if we want Bitcoin to go higher, is, just get rid of this EMA here, is I think it would be quite nice if we came down at some point in the week, maybe retested this and maybe came up here, okay, and maybe try to form some sort of consolidation and then push higher, and then we would want to see, obviously, us push through this area, okay, back test this and then hold this as support. This is the most bullish scenario for continuation to the upside. What I think would be a weaker move is we do move straight up from here. Now, I don't think this looks very toppy to me, to be quite honest with you, in terms of this pattern, okay? So I do think we've got some room to at least test that 43K region, but don't be surprised that if we do move from here at the start of next week, okay, that if we do see, a rejection back down to maybe somewhere towards this trend line, maybe, if we do move back down here, again, just look for this, the next area of support over here, which was that 39,000 area where we tried to break from. And then, like I said, so just look for these as areas of support, and, scenarios can play out in different ways. So like I said, this is the scenario that I'd probably be looking out for, but I do think that we see some resistance here. So expect resistance at some point at the 43K level. Now, obviously, plenty of work to be done, but, above the above that 43K level is really going to be, I think 46 is going to be a key area there, because not only is that the big area and the big range that we broke down from to start, attacking 40K in the first place, and we were ranging here for quite a while. It's also the dreaded weekly 21 EMA. So, typically that's coming in hot at about 46. So maybe we get there in the next week or two. And that's going to be probably like quite a big test, because that might give us an indication if we're in some prolonged downtrend, okay? Because if we come into the weekly 21, okay, and we get some kind of rejection like we did here, this is giving us indication, and it's starting to show market structure that we might want to move lower. Now, I'm not exactly sure where we go from here. I don't have, a high degree of clarity, but I will say, in all honesty, I'm not sure that I see 33K as the low, if I'm being honest with you. I think it's highly unusual that in the first place that we had such a down move for such a prolonged period of time without any relief or bounce. This has been the biggest bounce that we've had since November, which has been so far about a 27% move. So I would have expected this move, to be quite honest with you, a little bit earlier. That's why I was expecting around 46 or 40k, but we didn't get it. We've got it now. So this can definitely form some kind of intermediate low. But my base case, to be honest with you at the moment, is, the 30k, I think there's a good chance we still tag this or still undercut these lows, okay? So I'm not too sure that 33k and just saying that, oh, okay, people are front running 30k and basically this is, people are just buying us up, to front run what they think might be the obvious bottom, because I think this could easily be an oversold bounce because we haven't even had a bounce at all in the first place. So, we've got a lot of work to do. The first indication to me would be to get above the weekly 21 EMA over here on the weekly, and then move over and then basically back test it as support. And then that's basically what you want to do, right? You want to see healthy market structure where we're basically testing areas, maybe getting a bit of a rejection at the start, but coming back and showing strength. So that's basically what we're looking for to move higher. Going back to the dollar index, please do keep an eye out for this, because this can be a swing failure pattern here for the DXY, where we tried to break above this zone over here, threw over at the top, and then basically capitulated back down with quite a heavy sell-off. So I would say that if the DXY does continue to break lows, and if we can break this low that we got on the 17th of January to start to create a little bit of market structure moving to the downside, this is going to be good for Bitcoin, very likely, okay, and at least give us some, more hope that we can expect some more relief in this rally, even if it is just a relief rally for the time being. So look out for the Dixie to move down and maybe break out of this channel as well. So to be clear, I am fairly neutral on Bitcoin at the moment. I do think that we will get a test of 43 for sure, in my opinion, okay? And I think that we can push high from here. This looks like a much, the market structure now looks a lot better that this could be the low, okay, at about 33k, at least for the short to intermediate term. But I still don't have a lot of confidence that this is going to be, the sort of low that we got in the summer where we basically, push on to new highs. I'm not so sure about that. I think Bitcoin is we're gonna have to give it a little bit of time to show us, how it's going to react. So like I said, we want to start breaking down some of these resistances, and eventually I think that the 21 weekly EMA is going to be the real key, area to watch out for. And if we can get some kind of weekly or higher time frame close above that, and then maybe also put that in confluence with about 46, and we can close back in this range somewhere between 50k and 48k, I think Bitcoin is going to start looking good, and that gives us some potential to move higher. Taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, obviously we spoke about this a number of times, and we said we would like to hold here and show support, and I would be expecting for Bitcoin to at least take the lead for the little while, because if we move to the downside, okay, then, it's going to be, Bitcoin is always the less risky, okay, on average, okay, so, I'd expect to see Bitcoin strength move there, and even to move us out of these, depressed and suppressed prices, I would still expect Bitcoin to lead after such a heavy sell-off. So you can see that we got that reaction that we were speaking about at about that 40%, 39% level, okay? And then what we're seeing now is I think that we can make a very nice push up here to about 47k. Sorry, not 47k. 47% BTC dominant. So yeah, so I am looking for Bitcoin to take the lead either way. I think Bitcoin is the stronger asset to hold here. There are a few alts which are showing some strength, which I won't go too far into, but I'd imagine that because some of these altcoins have taken such a beating that they are going to just make up a little bit of those losses on the way back up. I don't like to talk about the news too much, but I did just want to highlight that we don't have another Fed meeting until about March, so maybe that does give us a little bit of breathing room where we don't have constant chatter about the Fed being hawkish, and that's basically what's been scaring the shit out of people in the whole of January. So maybe that does give us at least like 4 weeks or something like that to at least see some reprieve from some of the sell-off that we've seen. So that's why, I'm still looking for some continued relief, and for this to be potentially the bounce that I was looking for somewhere at around 42 and about $48,000. But either way, I'm holding spot, and I've got, my spot BTC. So if it goes down or goes up, I'm with you guys either way. So I hope you like that market update. Like I said, if you like these sort of videos, drop me a like down below, subscribe to the channel to keep updated. I've got some other videos coming out next week, and I'll cover some of the main coins and give you some updates on those. Until the next one, subscribe to the channel. Peace out.